I worked harder than everyone in that office, and somehow I was the only one who never moved up. I thought it was bad luck, but it turned out someone was keeping me exactly where they needed me. I used to believe that if you worked hard, stayed loyal, and kept your head down, life would eventually reward you. I believed effort spoke louder than words. I believed the people above you wanted to see you grow. My name is Ayla, and this is the story of how I learned the truth the hard way. When I got hired at Rexford Solutions, it felt unreal. I came from nothing, no connections, no safety net, just bills and pressure. This job meant stability. It meant respect. My boss, Julian Rexford, seemed like the kind of man everyone wanted to work for. Calm, polite, always praising dedication. Every time he said, "Good work, Ayla. I see real potential in you," it pushed me to do more. I stayed late almost every night. I skipped lunches, worked weekends, answered emails when everyone else was asleep. I didn't complain, because I thought loyalty would protect me. Slowly, I became the person everyone relied on. If something went wrong, they called me. If a project was stuck, I fixed it. I didn't realize that being reliable was turning me invisible. After a few months, I noticed something strange. In meetings, my ideas were being presented by someone else. Julian would say, like Maya suggested, and the room would nod, even though the idea had come from me. Maya was his favorite. Always laughing, always confident, always sitting right next to him. I told myself it didn't matter. That recognition would come later. That hard work always wins. One evening, Julian called me into his office. He told me a promotion was coming and that I was at the top of his list if I kept performing the way I was. I went home smiling. That night, I promised myself I would push even harder. I trained new hires, corrected mistakes that weren't mine, and carried projects on my back. I didn't realize I was making myself too useful to move up. Everything changed the night I went back to the office to grab my charger. The lights were off, the place was quiet, and Julian's office door was slightly open. I wasn't trying to listen, but then I heard my name. Maya was laughing. She said, "She really thinks the promotion is hers." Julian laughed too. Then he said something that burned into my memory. He said I worked best without power, that I did the work while others took the credit, that this was efficiency. I walked out without a sound. I sat in my car and cried until I couldn't anymore. That night, something inside me broke, but something else woke up too. I didn't quit. I didn't confront them. I smiled the next morning and thanked Julian for believing in me. From that day on, I started paying attention. I stopped fixing mistakes quietly. I stopped reminding people of deadlines. Instead, I documented everything. Emails, edits, timestamps, instructions. I saved files and kept backups. I became careful, patient, and very quiet. They thought I was still loyal. They didn't realize I was learning. Then, the biggest project of the year landed on our desk. $1 million client. The kind of deal that could change careers. Julian made Maya the project lead. Everyone congratulated her. Guess who did the real work? Me. Again. But this time, I noticed things that didn't sit right. Numbers that looked perfect but weren't real. Data copied and adjusted. Shortcuts that crossed lines. I kept everything. Promotion day came on a Friday. The whole office gathered as Julian announced Maya as the new senior manager. People clapped. She hugged him. Julian never looked at me. I didn't react, because I already knew what was coming next. That afternoon, the client arrived early, with their legal team. They asked questions. Detailed questions. Maya froze. Julian tried to answer, but the numbers didn't match. Then the client said someone had sent them additional documents the night before. Proof. Emails. Edits. A full trail. The room went silent. The deal was paused. An internal audit started immediately. By Monday, Maya was fired. By Wednesday, Julian resigned. HR called me in. They expected me to leave quietly. Instead, they offered me his position temporarily. I declined. I told them I had already accepted another offer. A competitor. Better pay. Fewer hours. Turns out they'd been watching my work for months. On my last day, Julian messaged me. He said I could have warned him. I replied that he taught me everything about efficiency. Then I blocked him and walked out without looking back. I didn't win by being loud. I didn't win by begging for respect. I won because I let them underestimate me. So if you're listening to this, remember one thing. The quiet ones aren't weak. They're just taking notes. Would you have exposed them or walked away silently?